Manchester City have made their third signing of the summer. Leeds United's Kalvin Phillips has joined Pep Guardiola's champions. The wonderful, beautiful 𝐌𝐿𝐴 Pirlo is finally a Manchester City player. It looks like we've just got our Fernandinho replacement. And I'm very excited for this transfer. And I think you should be very excited for this transfer too. Honestly, I think this is a signing that will go a little bit under the radar, but end up being a really, really good one for this club because it's a sensible transfer. It's a smart transfer and one with a lot more potential than maybe we do give it credit for. So today we're going to talk about Kalvin Phillips and what it means for him joining Pep Guardiola's side and all the overview, his fee, the style of play, his stats, any minor concerns, all that kind of stuff, and give you a thorough overview of this new signing that we've got. And I'm very excited to do this. Well, I can't wait to talk about Kalvin Phillips today. I would also like to request that you hit the like button if you enjoy this kind of content, and please do subscribe while you're at it. Click that subscribe button down below and help support the channel. So let's get started with this one. This guy becomes our third official signing of the summer, our fourth as well if you want to count Julian Alvarez as well, but he joins Alvarez, Haaland and Stefan Ortega announced this week as well in joining Pep Guardiola's Manchester City ahead of a very big revamp for next season. It looks like we're going to see a very different Man City, and I personally can't wait for this really. Looking forward to seeing what next season brings. Looking forward to seeing what Kalvin Phillips brings. Now, I know he's not like maybe the most exciting signing in the world. You have your Haalands, which is a superstar, and then Alvarez, which is this, South American wonderkid, and Grealish was just so exciting last year. And Kalvin Phillips is essentially a backup defensive midfielder. It isn't really going to tickle you in the same kind of way. I get that, but that doesn't mean it's not a really intelligent signing that could massively benefit this club and how we play. So in terms of why he's joined, well, I think we all knew that Fernandinho leaving left a relatively big Fernandinho-shaped hole in our squad. It looked at times last year that we were leaning on Rodri an awful lot. And when Fernandinho came in, he did a good job, but he wasn't anywhere near the level of Rodri anymore, understandably given he was quite old at this point. And I think what we've got now is a player who's definitely better than Fernandinho has been for the last couple of years anyway, while also at the same time having Rodri, who's now fully adapted and become a world-class defensive midfielder. So we want seniority and experience in midfield, and that's what we've essentially gone and signed in Kalvin Phillips, in a man who understands the Premier League, who's played at a high level before, obviously in the Premier League and for England as they went far in competitions, and of course understands what it's like to play up in the north with this kind of weather and play under a coach very similar to Guardiola in his style and his demands in Marcelo Bielsa, of course, for years and years at Leeds. Essentially, we've got ourselves a really good squad addition here. People would turn around and say we could have turned to the academy, someone like Romeo Lavia, who looks like he's going to Southampton now, but at the same time, the number 6 is probably the most important role in any Guardiola team. He absolutely leans on that pivot as a player, and the general perception was that Romeo, it was a little bit too soon for him, hence the sale with a buyback if he comes good one day. And I understand why Guardiola wants him. He doesn't want to take any risk there. In case Rodri gets injured, then we have to move Gundogan back, who's not maybe got the pace he used to, or use Romeo, who's a little bit younger, and it starts to get a little bit messy. So I get this. The suitability is absolutely perfect. Once again, he's so familiar with the style that Guardiola kind of plays, acting as a deep pivot, playing the passes, pressing really intensely, very used to being in a very structured system under Bielsa. And once again, the age is good, man. 26 years old. He doesn't turn 27 until December. Overall, this is a sensible, very obvious, but very intelligent little transfer that Manchester City have got. He fills a gap in the squad. He gives us options. He's homegrown, Premier League proven already, with loads and loads of rooms to improve. And I love this little tidbit of information. Apparently, he said no to United at any point. Apparently, he also waived his loyalty bonus to come join Manchester City because he really wanted to be here. He wants to be here. He wants to play under the best probably midfielder coach ever in the history of the game, and that is why he's joined. In terms of the actual fee, well, do you know what? It's actually not too bad. Allegedly around 42 million, rising to 45 million. I'm sure we'll see in the papers that go up to 50 to 60, and something crazy at some point will be quoted. But all reports, sensible reports, seem to suggest it's going to be around 42 million quid. That's the era we're in these days, England internationals who essentially play and are proven in the Premier League in a good age, they're not going to be any cheaper than 40 million. We all know that. Look at 𝐿𝐴 last summer. Not obviously different player, not English. But the point you're getting at is an established Premier League player, 40 million, even though they got relegated. Look at, what everyone pays these days for any players or any team, it's at least 30, 40 million always. Like Ben White going to Arsenal for about 50 million. You know what I mean? It's just how it is these days. So the fee, it's not actually extortion. I thought it was going to be about 60 million in the end, but this is actually quite manageable, and I can get behind this personally. So it's a good fee. It's obviously not cheap, but I think it's reasonable given the fact that, you know, United got Van der Beek, and look what happened there. I think Kalvin Phillips is much more proven in the Premier League, and he's literally about the same price. So to me, this is a good fee. It's not a great fee, but it's a good fee. It's a solid fee. Cheaper than I expected anyway. In terms of his style of play, well, I think a lot of us know a lot about Kalvin Phillips and how he plays. And the thing that's impressed me is his discipline. Under Bielsa, he was often obviously the lone defensive midfielder, essentially the pivot in front of the two centre-backs, the one who was tasked with taking the ball off those defenders and launching counters and essentially dictating play. Obviously, that's where that 𝐌𝐿𝐴 nickname comes from. We all know that's essentially his thing. Now, the Pirlo thing, of course, is a massive exaggeration, but you never know what level he could get to under the tutelage of someone like Guardiola. But that mainly is what he's been known for, dropping between those two centre-backs, picking up the ball and launching play. Leeds often do defend in a 4-1-4-1 kind of system with him head of the defenders, but when they are attacking, it becomes a sort of 3-3-1-3 with Phillips dropping between the centre-backs who spread out wide, and then him using his excellent long passing to spread it. But I think what most people will be excited about with Phillips is that relentless work ethic. Now, you can see on screen his heat map. Right now, this boy gets around the pitch. He absolutely does get around the pitch, and that's what you like to see. You can see where he mainly kind of hovers around the centre and covers it, but he's not afraid to get forward a little bit, as you can see in the false 8 kind of position there, with a little bit of heat in those kind of areas. But ultimately, Phillips is a runner, man. That's one thing I can't wait. This guy will press and press and press. Basically, when he's not in possession, his main job essentially is to make those passing zones and lanes really congested and cover as much area as possible. That high work rate and that physicality that he's got as well essentially allows him to play 90 minutes without ever stopping. That rhythm never ends, covering an absolute hecton of ground. When he does it really, really well, that isn't easy to do, but that's what makes him so suitable for this kind of system. And you've got to consider that he won't have to run as much as well at Manchester City, but he still will cover the ground, and he's got more physically in common with someone like Fernandinho, I'd say. Rodri's maybe not as quite as quick off the mark as Ferner was, but Phillips has a little bit more of that to me. So his style of play is combative. He's a very good passer. As you can see on screen right now, his long passing is some of the best in the league. This was from 2020 to 2021. He was up there. This is the season Leeds finished in 9th, where he was excellent, of course, and made his name for himself, really. But he was up there alongside the likes of Neves, Thiago, and Rodri. And you'd only expect that his passing would actually go up in a Manchester City side, because of course he would. He really loves that diagonal. And of course, that's something that we saw Rodri and Fernandinho have been really good, floating balls to the back post for the runners at the back. If he can do that at Manchester City, he will be loved by Pep. And he's proven he can do it before. I mean, he's really, really good at that whole kind of diagonal thing. And his passing, his ball retention is good as well. In terms of his position, well, we all know he's a number 6 there, so there's no real surprise. He will play as a number 6. Essentially, he'll start as a backup to Rodri. But do not be surprised if every now and then we see him as a double pivot alongside Rodri with the likes of KDB or maybe Foden or Bernardo or someone like that, giving a lot more license to do a lot less defensive work and essentially just create and use that magic that they've got in their boots. Who knows? Maybe every now and then we'll see him push a little bit further forward. He does have the energy and the sprightliness and the creativity to his game to potentially act as a kind of option at number 8 as well. But I'm suspecting mainly he will be in that number 6 role as the pivot, dropping between the centre-backs, pressing, tracking runners and all that kind of stuff. In terms of his actual squad role, yeah, as I discussed then, I think he's going to have to come in and be really patient, understanding that he is a backup player for now. He is a rotation player, and he will be expected to sit and watch the masters at work, essentially. Bernardo, Gundogan, Rodri, KDB, all these people are a lot more versed and a lot more currently understanding of what Guardiola wants from his players. So he's going to have to be really patient and watch how they move the ball and the systems and the shape. But Guardiola will get to work almost straight away on improving his tactical awareness, his one-touch passing. There's no level really like Manchester City's in the Premier League when it comes to moving the ball, and he'll have to learn that before eventually, hopefully, for him anyway, he'll start to kind of impress himself on the first team, and I'm sure he will. But for now, he's very much a rotation player, and I'm fine with that. In terms of his stats, well, this is interesting, man. This is since the start of the 2020 season. compared to Rodri per 90. More tackles, which you'd expect, given the Leeds have to make more tackles. More interceptions, a good 50% increase, which is really impressive. His possession turnovers are a lot higher, which once again, he's probably going to have more because he has more to do off the ball than Rodri does. He actually takes on more dribbles, which is interesting, about 1 per game. Though Rodri's getting better at that, I would say. And his forward passing is a lot more aggressive than Rodri's as well. Now, of course, you have to consider all that in the sense of what he's asked to do at Leeds, but it's really interesting to see how he does actually compare really favourably. And to be honest, looking at his broader stats as well, except for maybe like clearances, he pretty much betted all his performances from the season before this season in every defensive stat. What I really like as well is that when you look at his essentially his passing improvements over the years, on screen right now, I've taken a snapshot and highlighted his passing completion. Look back to 2014-15, 79% around there. Then you go to the very top and see what he's been doing for England in a much better team than Leeds, and it's around 90%, 91% just underneath that, which is really impressive. What I like is the fact that the higher his level has got actually, his passing has gone up from around 70s to sometimes mid-70s, sometimes as low as 60 in some competitions, to being consistently in the mid-80s. I'm expecting that will, of course, go up at Manchester City, but you can see an improvement as he's got older, even as he's gone up to higher levels of football, which to me is really impressive, man. He can actually do it at a high level, and he can actually improve his passing percentages, which is really, 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 really impressive. In terms of his actual concerns, well, there is the injury record, of course. Now, I'm going to bring these injuries up on screen right now and talk about it. Now, of course, we all know that last season, he missed basically half the league campaign. About 4 months out, which wasn't ideal. That was a hamstring injury, kept him out for that. And he did miss about 7 games, about 2 months out total in the season before that. 1 with a calf injury and 1 with a shoulder injury in 2 separate spells there, which obviously wasn't ideal. I've not seen enough to see that he is fully injury prone, and I'm just using transfer market here, which shows, of course, his history, but I don't know how far that goes back. But he has had some injury concerns, which you have to know. The other side to that is that he has been rushed back quickly because he's been so crucial to Leeds. Leeds absolutely love him, by the way. I know a couple of Leeds fans, and they are devastated that he's going. So that tells you all about him. And I guess maybe one of the other concerns is, will he adapt to life at Manchester City at the level? Because it is such a hard thing to do, to be a squad player at times when you become the main man. We'll have to see. I mean, the one thing when it comes to his injuries as well, which I forgot to mention, is he'll get more rest, so he won't actually be injured anywhere near as much. But that lack of game time could, of course, affect his rhythm potentially. So we'll have to see. And maybe he'll take a little bit of time to adapt to it. But that is the beauty, I guess, and I'm counting myself in the concerns bit here. The beauty of it is that he'll have that time to do it because we have Rodri and 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐿 and other players like that. I mean, overall, for me, I'm going to just sum this up. I think we've signed a really intelligent player here who's going to absolutely improve the quality of the squad, who clearly is desperate to play for this Manchester City side, who clearly cannot wait to get started and clearly wanted to play for City and no one else. Under Guardiola, this could actually be one of the best things that's ever happened to England. Kalvin Phillips is going to improve under Guardiola and actually give the number 6 that England absolutely desperately are crying out for right now. So I'm very excited to see how this goes. Guys, do let me know what you make of this signing. I personally think this is one that's smart, astute, and could be a very, very, very good thing for all involved here. A decent fee, great for England, great for Manchester City. Kalvin, welcome to the best team in the land and all the world. I can't wait to see him next season at the Etihad. Do let me know down in the comments what you make of this transfer. Big love to all of you. Thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. So much going on in the world, and I'll have some interviews on this channel soon with some Leeds reporters or Leeds fans talking about Kalvin Phillips in their words. Give this video a big thumbs up. Catch you in a bit. Come on, Kalvin.